Hello, everyone. Welcome to another amazing episode of CO Pod. Today, I'm joined by Kristina Held. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, I'm so excited to have you here today. I'd love to get this started with learning a little bit more about you, your background, and where you got to where you are today.
Oh, that is a long story. I am originally from Montenegro, from Yugoslavia, and my mom is German. So I sort of got educated in both countries, and then I moved to the US about 25 years ago. And I wanted to be an architect since ever, really, since I was 6 years old. And it's just a combination of things. I really like to draw, and I liked art, and I also like math.
Yes.
And then architecture was one discipline where you can combine all of it, because I didn't want to give up math and I didn't want to give up art. So
Yes.
yeah.
So, kind of thinking about your background, studying all over the world, living everywhere almost, it seems. How has that kind of, factored into you as an architect in your work and what you do?
I think it's very beneficial for an architect to travel and live in other places. It makes your mind very open, and it makes you just combine everything and find solutions more easily.
Yeah.
And also, just keep an open mind to suggestions and to other ways of doing things, which is, I think, very crucial for architects, and being adaptable to any type of project, construction, climate. So it's good. It's a good thing.
When I think about careers where, being able to pivot, being able to, switch on a moment's notice your plans, I think of architecture.
Yes.
So I think that is such an important trait, an important quality to have.
Yes, certainly. We more and more deal with very complex projects. And the architect is, if you think about a symphonic orchestra and you get a great piece that we listen to in the end, we are sort of like the director for all of it, the conductor. So we have engineers, we have specialists from acoustics, sustainability to interior designers, and much more depending on what the project is. And everybody's looking to the architect to sort of coordinate everything. So we are sort of jack of all trades, so we need to know a little bit of everything to be able to do that. We're like not a specialist in anything per se, and I really enjoy it because I learned so much. I love working with engineers because they are very good at what they do, and then I know just enough to understand where they're going and to listen to and take their advice and implement it properly. And that's another joy of architecture, that you get to meet so many people, and every business owner you work with, you basically learn how they are doing their business, and you learn a lot about their project and about their culture in the firm, about the food the restaurant makes. So you are constantly learning and getting to bring that knowledge into your design as well, and it's just never boring.
And all of those owners, all those different companies, I'm sure they all have very different personalities, all of that. So, how do you kind of balance all of those different factors, all those different personalities, and really make it mesh together?
That is a great question. So when I design, I really don't have I do have my own style, because when you look at all the projects, you can see a common thread through all of it. But when I design, it's always about all of the constraints on the design. So we get a site, depending if it's flat, is it wooded, do you have wetlands, do you have a steep topography? So that will very much influence the design. And then the same as the climate, the same as how big the project is, what the programming is, and then also the client. So the client's personality is deeply embedded in the design. And once you get all of these, it's like an algorithm almost. It's not that scientific and not that straightforward, but it's mostly you get all of these inputs, and I let that simmer for a while, and then a solution will present itself, and it's usually very original, although it's driven by all of these constraints.
So I just have to ask, just because I am a creative as well, but how, what is your process, your creative process, when you're coming up with these designs and embedding your style, the client style? What's your creative process look like?
Well, that is about it. I like to see where we are building. I like to see the property. I like to feel it. I just have to feel it. And then I just gather a lot of input. So I like the client just talk to me and tell me what all their dreams are and needs, and even if they sketched out a plan, give me everything, and then we'll do all the zoning research, codes, everything, and then it just simmers, and I just think about it without really drawing anything. Could take a week, 2 days, 2 weeks, and then suddenly it hits me, and I understand where that all comes together in a concept. And it's really fun because that concept really is sort of like a DNA for the project. If that concept is able to combine all of these inputs together as like a code, it's very easy from there on, because it will all unfold very naturally. If you get to a hiccup in the design and you say, oh my God, this doesn't work, then I take a step back. It means that the original concept wasn't really working.
Yeah.
So you have to sort of,
there's the adaptability
yes,
again.
so you have to sort of, because if you're forcing it, then it's not it. So it has to really lay all like, oh, this is it, and it just lays perfectly.
And I'm sure you have to have some pretty tough skin too, to not let, you know, all the criticism about designs and all of that get to you.
That is very true. I've been in that regard extremely lucky, and I think it's the listening part.
Yeah.
Because even if the client comes with their own preconceived notion what the project is, and let's say I don't see it the same way, through listening and sort of reading between the lines, what are actually their main goals, what is actually what they want most, and you give that to them, they will immediately recognize it in the design, and there won't be a lot of back and forth or a lot of conflict. So our goal in the end of the day is to make the client happy and really fall in love with the building and really be able to use it in the best way. And so far we've been good on that.
Awesome. Well, you're Charlotte's first passive house certified architect and have worked on LEED and passive house projects. When you sit down with an owner, developer, whoever it may be, how do you explain what passive house and high perform design really means?
That is a good question. To back up, people usually come to us precisely because we are experts in passive house. So they bring a lot of their own knowledge with them. But let's say there is somebody who would not know. It's all about, it starts with passive solar. So you want to position the building properly on a site. And then you want to have a really good envelope. And that means it's like a onesie, I explain it, when you have a baby. So there's like nothing, no cold gets there. Everything is nicely tucked in.
Yes.
And that's in terms of air tightness, and also in R value, in thermal comfort, in thermal consistency around the envelope. And then you do a little bit different mechanical systems. You usually have an ERV, an energy recovery ventilator in the south, or you will have an HRV if you're up north, where you're not that concerned with the cooling loads, and heat pumps usually for the heating system, which is a little bit different than what is typically done in homes, especially. And also, I would like to tell them that passive house is deceiving. Like passive, you have mechanical systems, so it's not one of those earth ships. That's a little bit different. That's more passive solar. And then the house is deceiving, because passive house is really for any type of building.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be a house.
Maybe I need to think about changing the name.
Yeah. Let's make them an email.
Yes.
Awesome. And a lot of the designs you do, you know, you really have sustainability, you know, at the forefront, you know, in everything you do. And you said that sustainable architecture is not a form, but a process that considers context, client needs, budget, and more. What are the first 2 or 3 questions that you ask owners when you're starting that process with them?
What do I ask them? Well, what they want, how they envision this this project to go. If it's a home, I will ask them, how do you live? Like, do you have children? Do you work from home? Do you have any hobbies? You know, what does the garage look like? Do you do woodworking? So all of that type of stuff. If it's a firm, you would ask them what business they do, and you would want to visit their current space and feel the culture. Like, how does that work? Does everybody needs their quiet, or are they all together all the time collaborating? That type of thing.
So it comes down once again to understanding your client, communication, and just really getting to know them. I think that's the biggest takeaway for anyone listening to this, is really listen to your client.
That is really also important about the style, because once you understand how somebody really is, then you can really also make a design that will suit him. It's hard to explain, but it's a character trait in them, or you just can sense what they would like and what not. I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I mean, that's, it's like the same thing with, any sort of creative outlet when you're serving a client or someone. If I were to go and paint this beautiful painting for a client and I just didn't get to know them,
Yeah.
would they even like it? Probably not.
Yeah, it would be unimaginable for me to design something and not have to talk to the client. That would be like, oh, not know where to start. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be terrifying. And I don't even do architecture, but I'm scared for you. Awesome. And we are talking about women in construction, women in all of these fields. So of course I would love to talk about that a little bit more. Um, so looking back over your path, from European universities to leading a firm in Charlotte, what has your experience been like as a female architect?
I think it's easier if you work for a company versus being a firm owner. I
Okay.
think that would be true. I think it has improved a lot. There is a lot of preconceived notion that an architect is male. That's just how it is, and that's from both male and female.
Okay.
That's just in general. But I think that is changing too. So I'm hopeful that it won't be just a pure male profession. It isn't. There are a lot of great architects that I know in Charlotte, and they're doing awesome and wonderful clients as well, and contractors on the job site. I have only good relationships with all of them, so they're very easy to work with. So I haven't. Me personally, I really was very fortunate to didn't have to deal with any.
And I think that's also kind of, in a way, a testament to how our industry is evolving. It's becoming, more accepting, and, the industry as a whole is realizing, kind of what has been and what is now.
Yes.
So it's just so exciting to be at the forefront of that change like you are. And then for me, seeing it all happen is so cool.
Yes.
So
And there was even generation before me. They had a really hard time. So
I'm sure.
So
I've
I
heard
already
horror
had it much
stories.
easier, I have to say. So yeah.
Did you have any, mentors along the way that, maybe made that a little bit easier for you?
So I worked for two women, female architects, and they had their own firm. And I learned a lot from them, and it helped that they were female. So I was the first employee, so they just started out. So yeah, and I just came from Germany, so I didn't know anything about how the construction process works in the U.S.
Yeah. This next question, this is just out of my own curiosity. What is some of the biggest differences you see between, the architecture and buildings here versus in Europe?
In Europe, I worked a little bit in Frankfurt as well, in Germany. So the whole process is a little bit more formal, I felt like. If you send drawings, you had to make full cover letter. We don't do that here. That's one of the things that I remember from then. And here, people just are very more laid back, and the communication is very much more, it's quicker that way.
Yeah.
So it's less formal. But the construction type is different because in Germany, even homes, they are just built more, think with concrete block, terracotta block. It's much firmer construction, built to last longer. Here, I think also because of our climate, it's more stick frame.
Yep.
It doesn't hold up quite for as long. And then we have wooden buildings in Sweden that last like for 200 years. So it's not the wood per se. It's more like the construction method here. But on the other hand, it's much cheaper here, and everybody can have their home, most everybody, and that makes it more affordable. So that's on the flip side. If they were built super duper well, maybe they wouldn't be affordable anymore. So we have to find that balance in sustainability, quality of construction, and affordability. That's the real
It's a
challenge.
very fine balance. I'm sure it's teetering a very fine line there. And it's so interesting to me because, you'll go to Europe, you see these buildings that have been standing for 200, 300, 400 years. And I feel like,
Thousands of years, yes.
yeah,
In some cases,
I
yes.
mean, exactly. And it's like, I feel like, here we don't see that as much. We have some pretty old buildings, probably from back in colonial times, but it's very interesting to see how it's held up there versus here.
Well, we just recently went to historic Salem, which is not far from here, and they have like 200 old buildings there, and they are all stitch frame with brick veneer. They were just crafted well, and you can't keep that stuff up. But it's of course not the same as if you go to Rome and you have all of those stone buildings. So that's of course different. But they have the Chicago school started in Chicago, so we have wonderful buildings there as well. It's it's just different things in different places. The cathedrals in Europe are really unique for the whole world. So
Yeah.
it's hard to compare yourself to them.
All right. So, Held Architecture describes itself as a boutique firm that treats every single project with the same determination and passion, from micro units to mixed use. What does that look like, in a day-to-day practice, for owners and construction partners that you're working with?
So our specialty is sustainable design, and then we have a wide array of specialties in building types. So we do schools, we do office, we do multifamily, mixed use, some restaurants, breweries. So the client that comes in might have a master plan for like 100 acres, and maybe they just want to do a nice restaurant, or they want a passive house. And we will basically do all of it and help them achieve their dreams. So the scale doesn't matter as much as that the design that they ask for is quality design.
Of course. Yeah, I feel like every project's very different compared to the next one or the last one.
Yes.
So that probably keeps everything really exciting for you.
Yes, that is the best part of our job. Yes, that's the change.
Something's
Yeah.
different every single day.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome. Now I have some fun rapid fire questions for you. This is
Okay.
probably my favorite part of the podcast. So what is one habit or mindset that has helped you lead a practice focused on high performance and design integrity?
It's probably grit
Yes.
and being stubborn, because it was very hard in the beginning. Like when I came to the United States, I remember I wanted to put light shelves on a school, and that was like, I can't even say how long that was ago, like 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And everybody looked at me like I'm crazy. And then I got the certification for passive house architect, and everybody looked at me like I'm crazy. And that was back in 2018. But I said, it doesn't matter. We don't need 1 million projects. We just need a couple. And if somebody needs a specialist in sustainability, we will be here.
Exactly.
So I have a lot of experience in sustainability, simply because I never gave up.
Yeah.
So that's
and that's so important too, as, an owner, or even just a woman, a person, down to your core. That grit and that resilience is probably one of the most important traits as a human that we can have.
It really is, yes, it is. You just have to get up after a setback. They cut out all the sustainable features out of this project. Well, let's try the next one.
Yeah, and it's, it opens the door also to trying new ways of doing things. So it really opens the door for innovation as well.
Yes, you just have to keep trying.
Awesome. Well, Kristina, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
I had a great time talking with you.
Thank you so much. It was lovely talking to you. Thank you.
Awesome. And for all of you guys watching at home, thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next episode.